Hello and welcome to my channel. It's the Network Specialist. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, and hit that notification bell so that you know each and every time I upload a video. Everything I will discuss in this video is alleged and in my very own opinion, used for entertainment and comedic purposes. Today I will be doing a recap of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 16, Reunion Part 3. Okay. Hey, Sound Check Annette. Thank you so much for being here. So let's go ahead and get into it. So this week's Part 3 picks up with, all the drama from Shamia and Portia. And I totally agree with Shamia. They need to stay out of their mom's business. Okay. Um, it seems like young adults are more mature than adults these days. Like even on Next Gen, Kim and Candy are not speaking. Hey, Mama Bees, thank you so much for being here, and thank you for all you do. Um, when their daughters met back up in New York, they were able to, rekindle their friendship. And Riley didn't even know why, the moms had fell out. And she asked her mom, and her mom told her that was none of her business. And that was the right way to handle that situation because what you got going on has nothing to do with the kids. Okay. So I really feel like the parents and the mothers are destroying Portia and Shamia's friendship. And Candy definitely encouraged Riley to be friends with Ariana. And I just feel like these two ladies should focus on their own personal issues and just keep their moms out of it. Because according to Shamia, the moms fell out years ago. And if that's true, then everybody should just move on. So for me, maybe it's the moms forcing these ladies to compete against each other low key. And sometimes parents do that without even realizing they're doing that. Okay. Like, let me give you an example. Every year, my family usually hosts a New Year's Eve party on New Year's Eve. I'm sorry, not New Year's Eve, Christmas Eve. We host our Christmas party on Christmas Eve. We usually play the white elephant game, whatever the case may be. And ever since my sons were very, very small, like every year I can remember, since they were babies, whatever. My family had this party. So we always have a talent contest or a talent show. So the boys would compete, my sons would compete against my sister's daughters. Okay. So one year, I will never forget. And, the boys, the kids were very young, maybe in elementary school. I'm not really sure. I can't remember. We do this every year. I can't remember exactly which year it was. But, everybody was, the kids were dancing or whatever the case may be. And my sister stood up and was like, y'all are cheating. And I'm like, cheating? Like, how is anybody cheating? But the thing of it is, like, when boys dance, sometimes that hit different because a lot of boys don't dance, but my sons can dance. Okay. So, and I feel like the girls probably wasn't dancing as good as they could because their dad was watching. And sometimes girls feel embarrassed to dance in front of their dads. So like it kind of got emotional. And I'm like, it's just a talent show. We're just, it's all for fun. But sometimes without knowing it, parents can push their kids to compete against each other, even though they're best friends, whatever the case may be. Sometimes parents do that without even knowing they're doing it. So I just had to throw that in there just to give you an example of why I feel like the mothers are forcing these girls to compete because obviously, Miss Diane want Portia to be better than Shamia and vice versa. So I think that the mothers have a lot to do with it. And that YouTube video, and I know I'm getting off topic, but I got to say it, during this time, that YouTube video that Shamia did, I was just like, what was the point of that? First of all, your mom was talking very nasty and praying at the same time. Like, make it make sense. Like, she had a very nasty disposition. I understand she's trying to defend her daughter, but you can't talk like that and then say prayers at the same time. That just doesn't go together for me. So that was very weird. And I don't know the point of it because she said a lot without really saying anything. Like at this point, we really don't know if she's coming back. She apologized, but the apology didn't seem very sincere. So, like, what was the point of it all? And I even, you know, I tagged Shamia on Twitter to ask her what was the point of that video because I was watching it live when it premiered. So I wasn't feeling the video at all, to be honest. And what did Portia mean when she said that her mom found out her daycare was going into foreclosure? If you were not paying for the space, then you knew what was coming down the pipeline. Like you knew this was coming. And I believe Shamia was telling the truth when she said that the moms haven't been friends for years because I feel like if they had been friends, maybe Portia's mom would have reached out to Shamia's mom for assistance, before her daycare went into foreclosure. And Annette says they did not take any accountability. Exactly. And Sharon says, good afternoon. And hey, Real Talk with Grace and Mercy. Thank you so much for being here. And thank you so much for being here, Sharon Gottball. And Annette said it was a political stunt, not an apology. It was weird. I will say that. I mean, I really didn't get the point of it all. And so, again, hey, TNTG Mom, thank you so much for being here. If they were friends, I believe that, Portia's mom would have reached out to Shamia's mom and maybe asked her for some assistance. So if they weren't friends, then that means that Shamia's mom was not wrong to buy the building after it was in foreclosure. I mean, that was a smart business move. So whether they were friends or not plays a big part in how people are going to feel about the whole situation. And Shamia said that they hadn't been friends for years because of something else that happened, and she really didn't want to get into it. And I'm glad she decided not to get into it and not to put their business out there because, some things you just cannot share with the public because some things you just can't come back from. And she said that if she shared what was going on between the moms, then it would really go left. And Shamia also shared that she had been reaching out to Portia during Londy's funeral time. And she said that Portia wasn't responding. And then Portia tried to say, oh, well, I was grieving. Okay. Phaedra was able to reach out to you. She was able to host a dinner. You and Lauren came over. Y'all had dinner at Phaedra's house. So I'm not buying it at all. And I think what Portia and Shamia said in their final thoughts is all that needs to be said. They should, like I've said before, close the door softly and move on. I feel like their friendship is not salvageable at this point because the moms have entered the chat. And it's hard not to defend your mom because honestly, I don't know how I would feel if I were in that situation where I felt like somebody did something to my mom. So, and Sharon said, That was a smart business move. Somebody was going to buy the business. I don't see the big deal. Exactly. And especially if they weren't speaking, Sharon, like, I don't owe you any loyalty if we're not speaking. And I also like the advice that Andy gave to Shamia. And he told her, when she feels like somebody has hurt her, she needs to address the situation with that person. And honestly, I believe that that is truly who Shamia is. Like, some people just let people walk all over them and they never call them out. Like, I'm not that person, but there are people like that. So, I think that Shamia needs to get used to defending herself, because if she can't do that, then honestly, I don't think she's a good fit for this show. And I also feel like it's time for Shamia to leave the show if she wants to save her marriage, because I don't think that Gerald is liking the way that his wife is being dragged out here in these streets. So it's just really not a good look. And I guarantee you she's catching flack at home. Like, I'm pretty sure they're having conversations about this at home. And one thing I can say is, even though Shamia doesn't like to address people when she feels like she's being done wrong, she was the one that was doing all of the talking, if we're being honest. Like, Portia was pretty much being quiet about the whole situation. And that's one of the reasons why I can see the growth in Portia, because it was Shamia that was going around having all of these conversations about her and Portia's friendship, when, she should have been having those conversations with Portia directly. So after they got past Portia and Shamia's drama, the ladies were able to address their issues and have peaceful banter. And the whole mood of the reunion changed after all of the Portia and Shamia drama. And Drew even, she gave all of the ladies hookah from her friend Black and his product line. And I feel like with part three, Drew and Kelly really held it down. Like, they really made this part three reunion. Drew was not holding back. Like, she did what she needed to do. She addressed Ralph. Like, she tore Ralph, she tore Ralph up. I'm just saying. And she addressed Portia. Like, every time somebody came at Drew, she had a clap back for him. So y'all already know I'm still riding with Drew. Drew is my girl. I think Drew is perfect for this show. She's lighthearted and funny. She's professional, and she is getting to her bag, which is what you're supposed to do. She is utilizing this show to promote her other businesses, her album, her acting career. So Drew is doing exactly what needs to be done. Okay. So I think that she is a great representation for this show. Okay. And I honestly think Kelly is going to come around too. As you all know, I'm pretty sure you've seen it out here in these social media streets. Kelly has opened up her second restaurant location. So all of that has been taken care of since this reunion was aired. So shout out to Kelly for opening up that second location. So now the men joined the reunion: Dennis, Ralph, and Charles. And I really could have done without having Portia and Drew go back and forth about Dennis and Drew working together. Like, I really feel like we've heard that like all season. Like, it was giving storyline, because it absolutely did not make sense. and Portia had all of that smoke for Drew the entire season, and then she gets to the reunion and she wants to make up. And especially since, you know, I think it was in part two, they made up, they hugged it out. So I don't understand why we were still talking about it. And Sharon says Drew held her own. She definitely did. She definitely did. And Mama B says, please hit the like button, subscribe, and share the video to keep the channel in the algorithm. What she said. Thank you so very much. But I did enjoy Drew getting Ralph's lying clout chasing ASS all the way together because I cannot stand Ralph. And honestly, I think Ralph is still in love with Drew. I mean, sometimes, there comes a point when you just realize that you effed up. And I think Ralph has come to the conclusion that he effed up. Like, I think Ralph really thought that Drew was going to continue to let him, be out there in those streets. You know what I'm saying? And she was going to always take him back. But when you know that you're the prize, like, baby, okay, play with it. And I will be so happy when he is no longer tied to Drew and either Drew or Ralph moves out of that house so that he can stop riding Drew's coattail. Because at this point, he will be a non factor because I just feel like Ralph is in competition with Drew. And he even had the nerve to come out with a song called I Wish You Well. Now, is it just me, or do you guys think that he's in competition with Drew? It's just like Ralph wants a peach so bad. And I think that somebody needs to put Ralph on one of these dating shows so that he can leave Drew alone. Okay. So let's talk about Charles. And honestly, all I have to say about Charles is that I'm glad that he did not embarrass Angela for once. Okay. Charles did not embarrass Angela in this part three. And he said that he loves his wife and he's there to support his wife, and he just made it clear that he's just not the lovey dovey type. I mean, and we clearly can see that. And he did say that he would have a glass of wine with Wendy Williams, but who wouldn't? Wendy's a legend too. So anybody would want to have a glass of wine with Wendy Williams. And Real Talk with Grace and Mercy said, yes, he is in competition with Drew. Another Martell, okay? And I don't know if he just wants to share the spotlight with Drew, but you're in the middle of a divorce, Ralph. It's over. Move on. And Charles, don't let me find out that, you want a peach too, because it's kind of giving that Charles might want a peach too, like Ralph. So when Andy went around the room and all of the ladies gave their final thoughts, I felt love in the room between all of those ladies. Like they're there because they have a job to do. But at the end of the day, I believe that these ladies really care about each other. I believe they have fun together. I believe they love what they do. And, they're there to have fun, be shady, make us laugh, and show some sort of sisterhood. So they give what needs to be given. And TNTG mom says Charles MVP. Okay. You like Charles, huh? And I'm happy that it ended with laughter and overall on a good note. And I must say that The Real Housewives of Atlanta is still my all-time favorite reality TV show. Okay. So, I've seen a lot of reality TV, but they're still my favorite. They're going to probably always be my favorite for whatever reason. I haven't seen anything that have, in my opinion, come close. So, we've all heard that they have some new housewives coming to the show. Um, I don't know if it's been confirmed. They said K Michelle is supposed to be there, and then I think her name is Pinky from um the vegan lady. I'm not that familiar with her. I just know that she has those vegan food trucks. Skinny vegan, I don't know. But anyway, I haven't seen where Bravo has posted it. If you've seen it, let me know, because I haven't seen confirmation that they will be the people that will be joining the housewives. So it says that everybody's coming back, and I think everybody deserves to come back, because honestly, I think all the ladies did a pretty good job for this to be, for the ones that this was their first season. I think they all did a pretty good job. And even Portia admitted that she's had bad seasons. So I think these girls did a pretty good job for it to be their very first season. So that was pretty much it. Part three didn't really give a whole lot. They ended on a group note. And what made this reunion kind of interesting is that they discussed, things that happened during the season. And then they also discussed stuff that's going on like right now on social media. So, that did make the reunion a lot better, because I feel like if they hadn't done that, there was no need for three parts, honestly. They probably could have gotten away with just one part. But the fact that, they showed tweets, from events that took place right now, especially when it came to Brit in Kenya, and they talked about some of the tweets that Ralph made. So, that helped to make this reunion a lot better, because Portia, she didn't do anything all season, and then she came to this reunion with all of this smoke. And maybe it was because she was in a better place. I don't know. But it was just like Portia saved everything for the reunion, and she just basically skated by the entire season and really wasn't bringing anything to the table. So, but collectively, I think it was a pretty good season. I really love what Cynthia brings to this group. She brings class, she brings resolution, she brings sisterhood. So, I definitely hope she comes back, because she pretty much rounds out the edges. She smooths everything over. So I really like her being a part of this cast, even though she's just a friend of the show. So guys, that's pretty much it for part three recap of the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Of course, there's still a lot of drama playing out in the social media streets. So now that the show is over and they're getting ready to start filming again really soon, I guess now we just get to watch, all the drama play out on social media until the show comes back. So, but I am really enjoying all of the shows I cover: The Housewives, Next Gen, King's Court. Like, I am enjoying all of my shows right now. So, yes, I am really enjoying it. So, tomorrow I will be doing a recap of King's Court, following Next Gen on Thursday. And then I think I skipped a week of Next Gen, so I might have to either combine those two episodes or do one on Thursday and one on Friday. But I have a lot of content, guys. Hey, Aunt Trisha, thank you so much for being here. She says, "Hello, I'm late. What's going on?" Hey, network. Hello, everyone. Yes, we just got through recapping Roa Part 3. Did you watch it, Aunt Trisha? And guys, drop down in the comments and let me know what you thought about Shamia's YouTube video. The praying mom, and I think it was her cousin or aunt, I'm not really sure, that were praying for Shamia. And here's the thing, sometimes if you're that spiritual, this show just might not be a good fit for you, because the people that watch this show, the fans of this show, come here for the shade of it all. So maybe this show just isn't a good fit for Shamia, because it seems like Shamia is struggling between her image and having this Christian image and trying to keep up with the shade on the show. And it's not really mixing well. Okay, you said you missed it. Oh, I'm sorry about that. And I hope your family gets well soon. Yeah, so I think Shamia is kind of going back and forth with her conscience about, her image on this show, and the fact that her family is so spiritual, but this is not the right show. All the drinking, you know what I'm saying? You know, the skimpy outfits, it's just not a good look for, I don't know, the image that her family is trying to portray. So she might need to rethink whether, this show is a good fit for her, because, honestly, these women are willing to get gutter. Like I said in my last video, they're almost willing to give up a kidney to be on this show. And Shamia, like, she's just not really willing to get that down and dirty. So she's going to look bad every time. And TNTG mom is praying for Trisha's family member. So I think Shamia has to do some real soul searching and figure out if she's going to move forward with the show. I think she kind of left it up in the air, and I think she really hasn't made a decision, but there is a possibility that Shamia might not come back. There's a good possibility that Shamia might not come back for season 17. So, and honestly, when it comes to Kenya, I have to say this. I think Bravo asked Kenya to make that statement, and I think Kenya felt like they were going to ask her to come back, and they didn't. I think if she would have known that they were not going to bring her back, she would not have apologized to Brit. I think Bravo played Kenya, and they made her feel like she was going to be back for season 16 just for them not to bring her back. And I feel like Kenya is going to lose big, because I feel like she needs that Bravo check to keep the doors open at her salon. So unfortunately for Kenya, what she did, I mean, I hope she recovers from that, but it's looking like she might not be able to recover from what she did to Brett. And on that note, I'm going to end this live right there. Guys, if you did not like the video on your way in, please like the video on your way out. And if you just happen to be catching the replay, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. That helps to keep my video in the algorithm. And drop down in the comment section so that we can keep this conversation going. Thank you guys so much for watching, and bye for now.